So in today's vlog, we are going to talk about how less is always more valuable than more. So if you say, let's say you have only two pens in your pouch, and then that would make those two pencils very valuable, and you don't have any more pencils or pens. So you keep those very dear to you. You make sure that you don't overuse them, you don't make the wrong use of those pens, so that you retain them for longer so that they can go as long as possible. And in case you find another pen somewhere, you'll be very happy that, okay, now I have 3 pens, now this is amazing, right? But in case you had 10 pens already and you got another pen, you won't be as happy because you already had 10 pens and another pen won't make any difference to that. So what that means is that the less quantity that you have, or the scarcity that you have in anything, that makes that thing very valuable. And if you don't have enough, that is also in a way a good thing, because that makes you value that thing more. If you have less resources, you value those resources more. You make the optimum use of those resources. You make sure to think about, like, what can I do with these limited amount of resources to get the most out of them. You think about those things. But if you have things in abundance, which a lot of people have, and we think that they have a better life, but actually they don't, because they don't have to think about the resources. They have so many resources that they don't have to think before utilizing those resources, that how we should utilize these resources, that how to best utilize these resources to maximize my chance for winning, because they don't care that even if they lose those resources, they have some more lying behind them. But for the ones who have less resources, they are always scared that they use those resources in the right manner so that they get the best result out of it. Because if those limited resources get exhausted, then you are left with nothing. So you care about those resources more, you value them more. But in case you have abundance of resources, you have everything that you want at your disposal, and you have abundance in life, you have everything you want, and everyone else will think that you have a good life, but you will know that you don't really have a very good life, because you don't have that joy of playing around with less, of making the optimum use of limited resources, because you always have so much more and you don't have to think about anything before spending or utilizing those resources. And that makes it less joyful, that makes it less fun to play around with those resources. So if you compare these two situations, you very clearly see that it's more fun to play around with less resources and try to make the most of it, than to have the abundance of resources and not think about utilizing them, and there's no fun in utilizing them, right? For someone who is very rich, it doesn't even matter if they buy a fancy car, it won't really affect them. But for someone poor, even if they buy a small car, it means a big deal to them. They would be crazy happy with that. But for a person who's already rich, they buy the fanciest car in the world, the most expensive car in the world, it still won't make them very happy as the person who's poor and just bought a small car. So the moral of the entire story is that the less you have, the more joy you get out of using it and playing around with it. And the more you have, the more you get, the less joyous it feels and the less valuable it gets. So there is value in scarcity, there is value in having less. So appreciate that and play around with that. It's fun. Try to make more with less. And that's the most fun game you can ever play, making more with less. Once you start doing that, you will start enjoying it, and you will not mind having less anymore. You will enjoy it.